So, guys, welcome to this exclusive coaching session together with Edson Mangueira. And guys, we are in the Glickenhaus Hypercar, in the Glickenhaus around Bahrain for an endurance event. We're working, and yeah, let's check out with Edson how he's feeling and what we are going to do today. So, Edson, thank you so much for having us today. First of all, like you already mentioned, you wanted to improve your performance on specific parts on the tracks. Is there something else that you were specifically targeting at today?
Um, just overall, I don't know. I think I'm still lacking overall ability. So braking, consistency, anything I can get, will be very helpful. I know the middle part of the track is my weakest part, but I'm still losing to my teammate across the board. Really.
Okay, I see. So you can hit the track, and I'm going to look at this a little bit, and then we see how we go from there and what we can do.
Yep. Okay.
You got full fuel?
Full fuel. Yes.
Okay, perfect. So let's see how this goes. Edson has some racing to do in this Glickenhaus machine in the next week. So we're trying to see and check for a little things that we can assist him with. So you're gonna do a couple of laps while I'm taking some notes.
Mm-hmm.
Just do your thing, just do your normal driving. I will observe and at some point tell you that we're going to discuss a few things.
Yep.
So very important for me to see here are these inputs on the pedals that he's doing. Effectively, I can change the overlay here. Because the new HUD is obviously giving us that information, so we rather go on the qualifying data so that you guys see for the actual improvements there besides the delta. Okay, so the car obviously very twitchy. We'll give him this lap of warm-up, and now we're having a closer look on the driving itself. The car more or less in default setup. doesn't look too bad overall. A couple of insecurities. And here and there not carrying enough of speed through the exits, through the turns themselves. Like you see, the more technically advanced the corner is, the more trouble he has to approach it. This goes for turn 9 and 10. This goes for turn 13 especially. Not sure if for that last turn as well. But he's missing a little bit of the rhythm, let's say. The driving itself overall is fine. I can't see many issues with the pedal inputs, as in a bad overlap or something. So he's on the throttle, and when going to the brake he's off the throttle. He's releasing the brake towards the apex, allowing the wheels to keep spinning. So the overall driving technique is pretty much alright. It's just, I think the consistency is where he's lacking, and I think also that he has, is a too low steering ratio. Because you see the in-game wheel, the driver in the in-game wheel is overturning on the steering wheel, which would mean I would need to turn that much, like for the hairpin on my own rig, which I don't. And I see him going a lot of mini corrections over the straights. So you'll see now when he's straight, the wheel is constantly going a little left, right, ever so slightly. So I think there might be some issues in the wheel settings to a certain extent, maybe. Was a good turn though. Gonna give him 1 or 2 more laps. Yeah, turn 1 and turn 2 is where we need to work. Yeah, that I liked very much. I'll that down as a reference. Because I was about to suggest him to find, especially for turn 9 and turn 10 and for turn 13, just to find some visual points on the road where you're like, okay, this is when I'm hitting the brakes, not even pushing, just a little bit, or like just moderate braking. This is where I go braking, this is then where I go coasting, and I easily gonna make the turn in an alright shape. And I think that is where we need to get him to. From then on, that will boost the consistency in the first place, because then he starts, okay, I've now done turn 10 and turn 13 5 times right, 6 times right, 7, 8, 10 times right. And at some point he'll be like, yeah, I feel that the car can do more than what it is doing at the moment. And then he's going to push forward. But first we need to create that feeling that a good turn isn't, I don't know, a lottery or anything. Not saying that it is for him, but he says that he's lacking fundamentals in the consistency. And you can really see that. Now this turn 5, 6 complex that he's just done has been really, really good, whereas the 3 before have been more or less no good. Last lap, this turn 9, turn 10 has been amazing. And this lap it has been amazing again, but already you saw on the approach towards turn 10 that there is more potential to be extracted. And again, I think we need to work a little on these steering settings. Let's see, turn 13. Yeah, this time he needs to go very, very slow there. He improves on his delta though, because simply the other corners that he'd done before have been kinda even worse. So I'll let him finish another lap just to see, because this lap has quality-wise been by far the best. Hence why it's 7/10 up. But also like the approach of the corners looked loads better than on different times. So I want to see another lap when he tries to maybe push even harder now, to see more where might the struggle come from. Because it's the second lap now that where I would be like, okay, I can delete that note about turn 1 that needs to be fixed. It's getting a much better line in there. Carrying more speed now through 4. There you go. Remember what I said about 5 and 6 last lap? This time there was this, oh dear, the line is not the same, the car bounced a bit more, the steering was a bit different, and straight away he's losing 2/10 there. At least turn 10 is consistently good. But yeah, this is obviously no criticism as such, it's just observing what I see. And then at the same time, obviously when you're doing a coaching, you want to get criticized to move on and get better. So I see the inconsistency in the driving that occurs here. Now he completely missed turn 18, and this is where I say we need to find and define the points for him where, like, okay, I'm braking 20 meters early than anyone else, but I'm braking just half as hard, putting the car just under less stress, therefore having more control over the car and doing a more controlled drive through the corner, which is leading to greater consistency. And based on that, you start to build up the confidence with you in the car, for the car. You start to build up, you know what the car's capable of doing, and then you can increase the level of push and therefore improve the performance. That is the approach that we're going to use here. Yeah, after this lap we're going to have a short talk. This turn 11 approach is not optimal. Alright. I think we should have a box and a short conversation then.
Okay.
Like you can press escape simply. So, how do you feel about these laps that you've just done?
The fast lap was pretty good. Oh, I say pretty good. It was relatively good. I still know that I messed up the first corner. There was one, maybe 1.5 tenths there, and then I messed up a little bit somewhere else. I forgot where. But then afterwards, I think it might have been a case of overdriving a little bit. Maybe the braking points changed a little bit, and I need to start braking a little bit earlier, or I'm not braking hard enough. So especially after the straight, I think after turn nine,
Mm-hmm.
9 or 10.
10.
Yeah, after turn 10. That On that straight, I started miss. I either started braking too lightly or missing my braking marker there. Um, then turn 10, 11, and 12. That's starting to get a bit treacherous, as I like to call it. So I'm not too sure what to do about that corner. In
Mm-hmm.
terms of losing control of the car. Um, I believe it's turn. So if that's 10, that's 9. That's I think it's 6, 7, 8. That S complex.
6, 7, yeah.
5, 6, 7. Um, there I have. Sometimes I go in too hot. Uh, Need to refine my line there a little bit.
Yep.
Um, yeah, that's my assessment as of yet.
Okay. That sounds pretty much all right. Is a few differences with the things I saw and a few similarities there. So that's good first of all.
Okay.
Before going into the details there, I would like to have a question for you. If you go
Mm-hmm.
into your rFactor 2 settings on calibrate controls, what is your steering wheel range set to?
Settings, calibrate controls. Uh, what? Ask the question again.
The steering wheel range in the right column, like in the middle. What is it set to?
Steering wheel range. So, steering wheel. You're talking in the input calibration, yes?
Yes.
Yeah. So I have to turn. So that's one full turn, 1.5 turns to the left
No, no,
for
that's
for the maximum.
I don't mean the calibration. That is always the same. If you go further
Okay.
to the right, and then in
Further to the
steering
right.
settings, the fifth from
Ah,
the top
yes.
says
Sorry.
steering
Yes.
range.
Uh, Range set by vehicle
Is it on or off?
on.
Okay, and what does the steering wheel range, the grayed out number say below?
The grade out 360.
Oof, yeah, I see that. So I have 520 there, and I have the range set by vehicle off. So this setting, what this setting does is, it gives you, it kind of synchronizes your steering wheel with the steering wheel in the car. And if
Mm-hmm.
the setup, let me quickly have a look at the setup, what it says in terms of the steering angle. Yeah, so the wheel range lock is 360 there, and this is giving you way too little room for adjustments. So what I mean is the car can be relatively sensitive on the wheel inputs.
Mm-hmm.
You're in inconsistency of the driving, especially in turn 5, 6, 7, in the approach to turn 9 and 10, in the approach to 11 and especially 13, comes from the point that when you turn like just 5 or 10 degrees on your own steering wheel, the in-game car goes hard to the left, hard to the right. So it has a very sensitive steering. With the 520 setting that I have, so I have turned the wheel range set by vehicle off and put my own one. So I need to turn the wheel 520 to reach the maximum lock. And you
Mm-hmm.
right now only have to turn your wheel 180 degrees to the left. So when you put the steering wheel on the top, let me see that I'm not talking any bullshit. Yes. As soon as you turn your steering wheel 180 degrees to the right, you have reached maximum turning. And I need to turn it at least 1.5 times to the right to reach maximum turning. So you see that I have the same steering ability from the car setup point of view, but I'm giving myself more room on the steering wheel to adjust. So I have less sensitivity in the, or I turn a little less degrees in the game for every degree I turn on my rig. If that
Mm-hmm.
makes sense. I can
Mm-hmm.
give you an example. If you turn your steering wheel 90 degrees to the right, you have 50% of the turned angle. And if I have my 520 and turn it 90 degrees to the right, then I only turn 35%.
Mm-hmm.
So I give myself more adjustability, more control over the adjustability. The steering will be more lazy, but if you develop the sense or the feeling for it, um, then you will, yeah, you will get more power, more control over the car, more
Mm-hmm.
control over its heading, its direction, and everything. Because what I see into turn 5, 6, 7, there is occasions where you are turning and your approach speed and your approach angle is just really, really good. Then you gain 2, 3, 4 tenths in a specific corner. But the next time you come there, the car jumps a little over a curb or over a bump because you are. I don't say you're doing an actual mistake, but it's just due to your steering settings. The steering
Mm-hmm.
is still too hard set into either direction, and then the car jumps around, and then you need to lift, and then you miss the apex, you turn hard to the other direction, especially in that 5, 6, 7 complex, and that can unsettle the car because you really pushing the car on its physical limits by dictating it such a hard direction change. um do you know what I'm trying to tell you?
I believe I do. Yes.
Yeah,
Um.
I'm very bad in describing this right now, but with you can say you soften your steering inputs by giving yourself more range because the speed of at which you are turning the steering wheel from left to right is decreased, and therefore the car has more time to react on it.
Mhm.
That will make the ride overall a lot more smooth.
Mhm.
So that's towards the steering setting. We can argue or decide in a few moments whether you want to change that and have a try with it or rather not. I will now go with you through the through the corners though real quick.
Mhm.
Therefore, I'm turning on my virtual camera real quick and I'm sharing the screen on Discord. Do you have a possibility to look at this?
Yes, I am looking at the Discord now.
Okay. So
Okay. Let me
now you see
expand.
your my screen, and I will quickly jump into the replay file of you. Um, let's just take the best lap that you did. That was that 45.2, I think, no? Right? Yes.
Mhm.
Bit quicker. So, this is your cockpit view. Turn 1 is good until this point, actually. So, first of all, as you can see, you're leaving roughly half a meter to the left. You can really put the car straight and still go very straight right now, pointing towards this grandstand. Because what you're doing here, you see here is where the grip is, and this is where you turn. This is not fundamentally wrong, but effectively you're giving yourself a tighter, even tighter corner. So if you would approach it a little bit more from the left and taking the maximum rotation in this area. So the minimum speed for this turn is reached about here, over here. So you're doing that sharper turn, and then at that apex, you're going to be already back on the throttle again.
Mhm.
So that is a possibility to gain time. You might lose compared to this line in this area, but you will gain it all the way back on the upcoming straight. Because what happens now is you did this very well. You kept the car relatively tight to the right, but look how long it takes for you to really go up with the speed. Like in the other line, you would be pointing more like this already. So let's say another 15, 20 degrees more to the right, and you would already be on the power. Here, you're just starting to pick up the power. And then this leads that leads to the point that you are a little bit too far on the left, closing the angle for turn 2. So what is going to happen is you are steering and accelerating. You go to the right to open up the entry for turn 2. And you see it here already. Just half throttle up to this point. Whereas the other line gives you the opportunity to even stay flat out until this point when you hit that curb. And then you might just be on semi-throttle because here the car gets a little bit wiggly over the curb, stuff like that. So that is quite normal. But up until this point, you have reached way, way, way more speed. So the entry speed you go into turn 2 is going to be a lot higher. Then turn 2, 3, exit is pretty much alright. Any questions towards turn 1 and 2?
No, not at the moment.
So what I want you to do is like have the turn before the apex, then stay tighter on the apex, on the exit. That will opening up yourself for turn 2, giving you the possibility to carry more speed through 2, and then regain, like you might lose half a tenth in turn 1. But that's fine, because if you do it right, you gain a tenth or even 2/10 on this straight compared to the other racing line. For turn 4, nothing too specific. You could have a look again on the outside, but I think this is pretty much alright. You could go 20 centimeters more to the left, but it's no big deal. I think you missed that apex though, overall. So here, obviously, you want to be close to before touching the curb. I don't think you want to be actually on the curb on this one. Is a bit tricky one, but yeah, a little bit more to the right. Then overall, the exit is fine. Exit angle looks good. You could carry a bit more speed in general, but that's about it. Then this turn I think was really, really good. Here it's just about the timing when to set up the car, and this is what I mean. Look what your steering wheel is doing, how much it's going left and right, because you're putting the car under so much stress with the steering setting that the car, when it goes over the bumps, is really likely to jump around, which is exactly what's happening here. Sorry, wanted to go that quick, wanted to go slower. But you really see, I'll go a bit down with the movement of the camera. And this is the slow-mo, how much and how quickly you are changing the direction of the steering input. Once again, this is no personal mistake as such. It is like a consequence out of the settings that you use currently. Then turn 8. I guess we have a couple of small issues here. On the braking side, you're very good to the outside here, but you seem to turn in a bit too early. So at this point, you don't want to hit that direction. You either want to go straight, or you want to already be looking into an early apex. In this case, I would rather say, when you approach like this, start braking here in a straight line until you are touching the curb right about here. So about here, you want to maybe have a touch at this curb. And then you turn in, trying to hit the apex. Because what happens here is you are turning in too late. Maybe a bit too quick, but I think you're more on the too late turn in. If you would be slower at this stage, this would be great, because then you could already point the car towards the exit and pick up the throttle with the acceleration. Right now, you're just coasting the car, which is obviously fine because you need to do it based on the entry that you had. So on the exit, then you're still steering a lot here, trying to set up the car for the exit, whereas it should have exactly this angle right here at the apex. So you want to be touching. Bad camera
I get
movement.
it.
You want to touch the curb, if any, after that pylon in those last 3 cornered sections. And you don't want to touch that rattle curb on the outside. It just slows you down on the acceleration. So, one of your favorite corners, turn 9, 10, and 11. It was really good
Fantastic.
in that lap. It was a bit hesitant, but it was quite good. So, quickly, back on the steering topic. So I show you real quick what your steering wheel is doing. You see that? You go in at this point, this is right where you hit the apex. And due to your steering settings, you go this hard into the steering. My maximum turning input on that particular corner on my own steering wheel is this. Maybe a bit more, maybe that. But you see that's like 90 degrees less. And you can do the same with your steering wheel if you put the settings to a different point of view. But to a different setting. But back to the corner itself, and you really do an approach here that I think is really great. It is going to be a technique that shall give you a bit more confidence overall in braking, not in braking, in driving, and consistency overall. So what I want you to focus on is not necessarily on going quicker in that area, but just doing the same thing over and over again on a very controlled level. So what you do here is pretty perfect because you've set yourself a marker, which is this line. As soon as it disappears here for you in the cockpit, you start the braking process, which is good. You're turning a bit too much for turn 9. I would rather stay a little bit more on the outside and put the car a bit more to the right here. Like half a car width to the right, but more pointing towards that curb already. Because what you have to do now is you want to straighten this line for heavy braking as much as possible. The corner is very tricky, I'm aware of that, and just pointing out. Here's what happens. You now have kind of early apex turn 9, and now you need to start braking heavily for turn 10, and you automatically understeer onto this entry curb. That curb you usually never want to touch because it likely unsettles the car a lot. The Glickenhaus for some reason is very, very lenient on that and stays stable. The actual turning then is alright. You are a bit late on the apex, so if anything, put the car exactly in this angle onto that curb and you'll be good on the exit. But what I rather want you to focus on, and you did this nice in this lap, you even went a bit faster in other laps, but what I want you to do is start hitting the brakes here, hit them with 60, 70%, really underdrive the car there, but do it consistently. So you go easy on the brakes, you slow down, and even if you slow down too much here already, you still stay a little bit on the brakes, and then you do nothing else but trying to turn in, aim for the apex as good as possible, and then go accelerate out of the corner. Any questions towards turn 10?
No, it's just that I really like that corner. I don't think I've ever done the same thing twice, 2 laps in a row. Yeah,
You
I
did it
am.
even you did it even 3 times, because I think the third lap afterwards was then even the best out of those 3. But this is exactly what I mean, because you do it the first time, the second time, the third time, the fourth time. Then in the fifth time, you actually be like, hey, I got some confidence doing this corner the way I do it. And then 6, 7, 8 is like, okay, I can do this repetitively. I can do this control. I can do this consistently the same way, lap in, lap out, lap 9, lap 10. And then you're like, okay, I feel that the car is able to do more. And so based on your approach, based on your path, and on your style of approach that you've chosen for the last 10 laps, based on that, you start to brake 3 meters later, brake 3% harder, turn, like, I don't know, go through a corner 2 kph quicker, and you do that 5 times in a row. Then you go 5% harder on the brakes, 5 meters later on the brakes, 5 kph faster to the corner. But you are consistently and in a controlled way improving your level of push there until you find the limit either of yourself or of the car. And that is how you can create yourself the consistency there. You just need to really take a step back. If I'm like going, okay, let's push it for 100%, and try to do it again and again and again, it starts becoming a kind of lottery whether you hit in the line, hitting the marks. But if you're like, okay, I'm not going 100%, I'm going like 85%, but I gotta make it right, and then move from there on towards the 100%, that is the way to create performance in consistency.
Mm-hmm. Got it.
So back to your steering settings real quick. Remember, you want to go over a straight here. And so we'll see what the steering settings do, or the steering is doing. Goes left, right, bit to the left again, more to the right. I'm not saying you're going over a straight like a snake, but the steering wheel is not kinda smooth. It goes a little bit left, it goes a little bit right, which has to do with the high sensitivity of the steering as well. So putting the steering range to 520 will not completely erase that, but you will not have to correct the car as much over the straight, but you can really enjoy the straight as being a little bit of a, relaxing zone, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
Turn 11. Back cameras. This is where you turn in for turn 11. Because here you are leaving the outside line, starting your approach, going for the inside. It was even more dramatic in another lap, but this lap is just fine enough. Oops. At this stage, you still want to be right towards the curb, because this turn is, as you can see, very tied up in the beginning. Up until here, this is where it has its maximum curve, or its maximum, how do you call this? Radial. So this is the period between entry and the beginning of the exit, where you have to be the slowest, where you have to turn the most and have to do the most rotation. And then the corner opens up. What you are causing here in this case, you are so early towards that apex. In this case, you kind of corrected out yourself, but effectively you're losing a tenth of time by carrying less speed into this phase of the corner. But there was another lap where you like straight ended up like this, going and then going wide here on the exit. Because what you've done here is, and I do not even know how to explain that without sounding like an idiot, but what you do here is like you virtually move the corner and completely change it. So you are lacking 2 meters here to the outside, you're lacking 1.5 meters here to the outside, and you're even lacking a meter here on the apex. So up until this point, I'd say the car's pointing the right direction, but it is here where you pick up the throttle, which is way too late. Because at this stage, the car wants to go wider just by the speed And as you can see, he's still turning the car a lot, staying a lot on the inside. So you want to go a little bit wider here, want to carry more speed. I'm pretty sure there's like 2 or 3 tenths in that corner alone. Then turn 12. This is a tricky one. First of all, questions for turn 11.
No questions.
Okay. Turn 12 is a tricky one. You want to come from the very outside, as minimum input as possible, and don't touch that curb. That curb can easily unsettle the car. Once again, the Glickenhaus seems to be very lenient with the curbs. And it's tricky. I would advise probably staying in... I'm not sure if 4th is revving out there completely. But I would stay in 4th and just try to feel the bumps as good as possible. I think if you change the steering rotation from 360 to 520, you might have more control over the car in this area, because here, with your setting, you need to keep the steering really within a range of 2 to 3 degrees. And with the 520 settings, you can have the steering within a range of 5 to 10 degrees, where you can also alter the heading of the car in a more fine-tuning way than as you can with this sensitive steering. My advice for you is just like to stay as long as possible on flat out. You start lifting over here already. I would go flat out at least until here, and then like go semi-throttle, like just what you're doing now. But stay flat out until this point, and with the semi-throttle you should be able to maneuver the car up, because when you approach here already, you have too low speed. With full throttle approach up until the point that I mentioned, you are going up here faster. You're just coming out on the very exit of the turn without actually now throttling or opening even opening the steering towards it. Yeah, and then turn 13, same approach as turn 10. I would suggest you see this orange edged end of the trail there. As soon as this disappears for you, you should generally start braking. You brake even a bit too early, and then you're coasting towards the turn. So what I suggest here is as soon as this disappears from your screen in the cockpit, you're hitting the brakes, but not with 100%, let's say with 80, 60%, 60 to 80%, something like that. And you just stay on the outside and wait for the turn-in, or like more smoothly trying to come to the turn-in point and coast through the corner. Rest of the corner looked alright. Turn 14, 15. Yeah, all you want to do is exactly this. What you just done here. This was just good. You can probably stay a little bit more to the outside here, to the left. Have a better entry approach. But you touch that curb just a little bit and then just accelerate out of the corner. If you don't need to touch that curb, don't touch it, because they slow you down. Any more questions towards that?
No. I think that was good, and you also picked up on something that has been told to me before, which we call it my bad habits. One of them is to not fully explore the track limits.
Yes.
I tend to normally get there by myself, but only after a lot of practice.
Yeah, I get that.
Once everything is already stabilized, I know my pace, my maximum, and then I start trying to eke out more and more. Then I start to naturally start to explore more of the track limits. But yeah, that was
I
a bit
hear
of a...
you. I hear you. So I'm just going to quickly do 1 or 2 laps, a little bit rehearsing on what I just said. Do you see this good enough, or do you want to watch from your own onboard within the game?
I think this is fine.
Okay. So I quickly break the rule here. But effectively, what I want you to do is like stay straight here for longer Then do the maximum rotation here. Stay more on the inside. And then you can open up this turn much more easy for you. Then turn 4, as we already said, just use the space. Feel free to carry in a bit more speed. Gradually increase the throttle towards the exit. Turn 5 and 6. You see I have much more ability to steer with the car without unsettling it. Then turn 8, you want to stay a bit tighter, don't want to touch that curb too much. And now turn 9 and 10. Gradually just hit the brakes, approaching the exit of the turn, and then, yeah, not like me, I just touched that stupid curb and spun. Turn 11. You want to really stay on the outside here. Go with the braking, duck and touch that inside curb, and then just power it out the car. Flat out till you come close to the curb, then semi-throttle, then you can keep it up. And as soon as this orange stuff disappears on the right, you approach that turn. You really do it with no hard braking. You just try to aim for the apex as good as possible. Same again for the final turn. I have not adjusted the brakes correctly. Wait. They are way too much front bias for me. Okay, I'll just start one more lap real quick and try to focus more on the driving rather than the talking so you can see what I actually mean.
Yep.
Yeah, awesome.
Love the car, huh?
It's just that default setup is a bit weird. But okay, it is what it is. So I will do that turn 1 again, just for you the next time around. Really, you can aim towards the outside here. Touch that curb, stay on the inside, and then you can straighten out the steering. Easy on that brake towards that line, and just slow the car down, hit the apex, and accelerate out of the turn. Really for turn 11, stay out here. Because here you want to carry the maximum speed and then just use the space you have available on the outside to carry up the speed. Semi-throttle for a short moment, then as soon as the orange stuff disappears on the right, you approach the turn, you coast towards the apex. And again, here applies the same thing. As soon as you get more confidence, you start pushing the car automatically later towards it. Alright, and then last but not least, hopefully a better turn 1 this time. We're working on it. Have you seen how much I've been flat out?
I think so.
We can quickly go into the replay file, and then we should be able to see. If I turn around, oh no, I don't need that. So. Look at my throttle input even before the apex. So I start throttling the car around here already. This is right on or way before the apex. And I give up half a tenth here. For sure. But then look where my car is. Your car is more over here. Which of course here's where the grip is. But look, I'm flat out, I'm flat out, I'm flat out. So it's all flat out up until this curb. And then I reduce the speed to just let the car not completely unsettle itself. And you see that the speed difference On the apex, I got 150 kph. You at this stage, lap 6 was the good lap, right? Yes. 126. So speed difference of 24 kph just on that point. So imagine what you lose up until that bridge. It's probably a lot. And if you look at on the exit here, you got 65 or 67 right at the apex. On the apex, I got 56. So yeah, here I'm losing like 10 kph to you, but this is what I mean. So 10 kph compared to 60 kph is, oh wait, I need to put that into relative before I start talking bullshit. So 56 compared to 67 is 83%. 124 to 150 is 82.6%. So that's kind of the same, but I'm scrapping off performance in this area for a short period of time. Like really, this is just like half a second where I'm, let's say, 17% slower than you. But here we're surely probably identical, and then I come with more momentum. And from this point onwards, I'm 17% better or faster than you. But from here on to the end of the straight, kind of. I mean, obviously the percentages go together, so I don't know. I approach the turn then with 277. You approach the turn with probably the same or a little less. Yeah, 276. So it's almost the same, but still you lose surely a good tenth on the way up to that point. So I'm giving up half a tenth on you in turn 1, but I regain it and take another tenth out of you on the approach to turn 4. You get the difference? Perfect. Kind of. Exactly. Amazing. I didn't even have to teach that. Let's say it is any car really favors that style. It is just that the cars that are limited on the rear end with the traction and with the tires and everything, they require it even more, where you need to have the momentum and really not being allowed over driving the car. So, do you want to try a different steering setting, or do you just want to go out and let me have another look at your approaches in the final 10 minutes? Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes. So are you not allowed to check what the settings are over there on this rig? Yeah, they should at least. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Fair enough. Then you can jump into the car. I'm having a watch. And I will remain more or less silent, or do you want me to actually go and pinpoint things while you drive? Okay. You don't need to necessarily answer. Could be a one direction conversation. It's fine. So, lots of talking. Also a spinala, a stupid one. But this is just when you try to make things right and you focus on too many things at the time, and the mistakes happen. But at the end of the day, it's not about how good I am showing the technique, it's more about how good does he understand it. And I think I could make that quite clear with the lap after then. So, am I expecting a further time improvement? Not necessarily. All I want to see is a different approach in the turns. Yeah, good exit. Good turn 10. Can turn in a bit more early, but the approach is exactly what I want to see. That was a good turn 13. Obviously not perfect, but just keep that approach and you will improve by yourself. Also, it's very likely that you will now do slower lap times because you're focusing on so many things instead of just doing the driving. But that is part of the process. Yes. And do not steer to the right after you exit the right-hand turn, only to the left anymore from that point onwards. I need to actually say something about that, like, he knows himself that he just broke too late. Oh, look at this. 1.5 tenths gained on his own lap. Sadly, you missed the apex by a lot.
Mm-hmm.
you actually never want to be on that curb. It always kind of drags you on the outside. So as much as possible, try to avoid it. And if you hit it on the exit out of 12, go off it before turning, braking for turn 13. So we have 2 more laps for him. Yeah, you need to wait a little longer till the rotation is done in turn 1. So a little less throttle application. Then the car will stay more to the right and then you can more straight line turn 2. So I saw half a tenth time gain there in turn 8.
It's not too bad.
Oh, this was brilliant. You see, straight 2.5 tenth gain in turn 10.
Yep.
I would stay in third here. I think it's a third gear corner. Then you can carry a bit more speed through it as well. Yeah, very good. You were already a bit faster in some stages of turn 13 now. And as you gain the confidence then, you will improve overall in that turn.
Yep. I'll show you which corner. There's I think it's turn 3. It tends to be quite unstable on exits because of just the nature of the track, how it goes. Basically my question is going to be, are there any tips or tricks or ideas on how to maintain a stable car? So going to here, once you accelerate, because of how the track turns, it's very easy to lose the car here in this part. Do you have any tricks, ideas?
Stay in semi-throttle for a lot.
Insane.
Like 40-50% of throttle. You could also try a short shift. The issue is just with the Glickenhaus, it really needs its turbo to be quick. And when you are short shifting on that exit into third already, then I think you just take too much performance away from the car. So you really need to be steady on 50-60% of throttle and gradually increase it, but never do any sudden changes on it.
Okay. Yep, that makes sense. And then same this corner, it tends to be very light here and here, which is why I tend to lift quite a bit. Sometimes, especially when the tires are really grippy, I find that fourth is really good. But then throughout most of the stint, I sometimes find it easier to keep the car stable in fifth, because it has less, I think, as you were saying,
Torque.
less torque, so it's easier to keep it in check.
Yes. Fifth gear is easier to handle there for sure.
Yeah. But yes. Jesus Christ.
I think the session is done sadly, but you have any more questions?
At the moment, no. I want to go away and do some practice.
Yes.
And see how much I can improve. If I feel like I'm still quite far from where I want to be, I can just book another session, really.
Okay. Yeah, as you wish. Just hit me up.
Yep. I mean, I need all the help I can get. The race is not too far from now.
Yeah, no, but I should be able to squeeze in some time next week on Monday or Tuesday. I might be still available, or on Friday. I'm not sure. Yeah, we need
So
to see.
yeah, so your availability is higher towards the beginning of the week, as far as you
Yeah,
can tell right now.
let me quickly look at the calendar. So I'm unavailable on Monday. I am available on Tuesday. I am available. Actually, I'm available on Wednesday and Thursday as well.
Okay.
Maybe
So
even yeah, Friday I can't, but Wednesday and Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, with Wednesday and Thursday being probably preferable.
okay, so I'm leaning towards Thursday a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And if
Oh,
possible, oh yeah,
Thursday I got an appointment,
Ooh,
so I just
okay,
looked at the wrong column. So Wednesday probably.
would be the latest.
Yeah.
Okay, so that means a lot of racing. Yeah, usually I would be a lot more excited, but for starters, I do not really enjoy this type of car.
Yeah, I can imagine it's difficult for starters. The only thing that I can offer towards Thursday is when we go rather late, like 10 p.m. Central European or 11 p.m. Central European. That I can offer for Thursday.
Yeah, that should be fine to me actually.
Okay, so you do some little bit of racing, and the best would be probably by end of Tuesday or mid of Wednesday. You tell me what to do with Thursday, okay?
Okay, I'll let you know Monday.
Okay,
Is that
that would be brilliant, yes.
okay? Okay,
Right. Then
okay,
Edson, thank you for
perfect.
having me, and have a great day.
Okay, you too, Michi. Thank you very much for your help.
You're welcome.
Cheers. Bye.
Bye. So, guys, that's gonna do it for the coaching here. That's gonna do it for the Glickenhaus at Bahrain for the moment. So you've heard it. There might be another session coming. Maybe, maybe not. But for the time being, that's gonna do it. And if you guys want to get a coaching, or if you guys have suggestions, feedback, questions, put them down in the comments area below. We're gonna have a look at them together. I'm gonna have an answer on them. And other than that, hope you guys have enjoyed it. Give Edson a like, give the video a thumbs up, subscribe us on the YouTube channel for more coachings and rFactor 2 streaming. And other than that, guys, have a good time, everyone, and enjoy.